What's up, guys? Stimulus is making a comeback. And not just the stimulus packages, that also stimulus checks. And this is your Build Back Better, Building a Better American Stimulus Package update and stimulus check update. Now, if you missed my last video, you might want to check it out as we're getting a whole lot more information rolling out about stimulus checks. We're hearing that they want to have an anti-inflation or anti-gas increase stimulus check. And we're hearing that there's already been plans released by lawmakers to send this out quarterly. Economists are coming out and saying we should do this on a monthly basis, monthly stimulus checks to go out to people. And also we're hearing that there is a restoration of that Build Back Better bill. We're going to be hearing it's modified and substantially scaled down. Take a look, you guys. Articles coming out like this. Joe Manchin killed Build Back Better. He just offered Biden a way to resurrect it. And yes, stimulus is not done. I know it felt like a rolling year. That is how long it's been since we saw the American Rescue Plan passed. But we're hearing that progress is finally starting to be made on this new stimulus package and also new faces. And like I've said here on the channel, this is a midterm election year and it's very likely as we get closer to the election, we're holding to hearing a whole lot more talks ramping up about more provisions, more stimulus, and even possibly more federal level stimulus checks. So you guys, I'm going to dive into this article. It does a really good recap as to where things currently stand with the Build Back Better bills. So that way you know what's going on and when we're likely going to be seeing more provisions. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, so link of the description below to this article just came out yesterday and it says Joe Manchin killed the Build Back Better bill, but he just offered Biden a way to resurrect it. And we've heard that Joe Manchin said he is on board with talks. He is going to be working on provisions that he agrees with other Democrats to pass through. Now, there's a lot of provisions that progressives are saying are not included. And as you know, originally they wanted to see 6 trillion, 7 trillion, 10 trillion of additional stimulus spending to send out monthly recurring stimulus checks, child tax credits, unemployment extensions, all which are being cut out, have not made it into this bill. So we're going to be seeing if they're going to be passing additional legislation after that to try to get some of those provisions passed. And we're also hearing progressives say, if we cannot do it, then you're going to need to step up and do some executive orders and executive actions. And that has been a lot of talk recently that I've been reported to you as well. Now, this article says with Washington's and the public's attention reverted on Ukraine and rising prices, especially at the gas pump, these past several weeks it has been easy to forget the litany of unsolved problems that the United States still faces here at home domestically. Now, the promise of President Biden's domestic agenda has faded. Build Back Better, that massive $2 trillion budget bill that Biden hoped would be his signature legislative achievement, has been inert for months to revive it. Even in the piecemeal fashion that appears to be the only path forward, Biden will have to do more than what he did 2 weeks ago. During his first State of the Union address, he touted important elements of that agenda: universal preschool, affordable housing investments, and hundreds of billions invested in green energy, but did not offer a clear roadmap for how his administration, working with Democrats who narrowly control both chambers of Congress, can put those changes into law. The changes are no less urgent. They're saying we need this now, and the politics of passing them through no less difficult since Build Back Better was cluttered back in December. America's economic outlook has arguably gotten worse, though his administration has added jobs. The price of nearly everything is rising sharply. Inflation rose by nearly 8% through February, the fastest pace in 40 years. That's why it seems so important that the day after Biden's speech, Senator Joe Manchin is key holdout on the original offer of the bill offered by President-elect Biden. Biden must take advantage of it and begin a new bill in the legislative agenda that has a real chance of passing. And yes, Senator Joe Manchin was one of the ones as moderate Democrats that was not on board to pass it through reconciliation. Now he is saying he's willing to negotiate startup talks and he himself is wrapping up the new bill. So that way we can pass through some reconciliation stimulus bill now. In an interview with Politico, Manchin laid out several provisions that he could support, including prescription drug reform, clean energy investments, and making health insurance subsidies permanent. Paid for by raising taxes on wealthy and corporations, he envisions half of the revenues generated by tax reform going toward reducing the deficit. That's a far cry from the transformative agenda that Biden has posed, but much less than progressive. The progressive wings of his party continue to clamor for, as I mentioned, monthly checks, child tax credits, an assortment of different provisions, almost up to $10 trillion in additional spending. Indeed, many of the missing elements make Manchin's narrow proposal a tough pill to swallow. The editorial board supported the goals of the Build Back Better because we believe, as Biden does, the expanded investment in education, housing, healthcare, and women's opportunities would have lifted millions of children out of poverty, and it would have largely paid for itself through the proposed tax increases. But with debt rising to $30 trillion and with Republicans controlling 50 seats in the Senate, it poised to perhaps take control of either or both chambers after this fall's election, the time for grieving over what could have been passed. And they're saying they have got to get something passed if they want to hold on to the control and win in those midterm elections. Now it says call it Build Back something, anything, whatever it gets Congress to say. Yes, Biden should see signs on Manchin's willingness to support parts of his broader agenda and work with lawmakers to craft a bill that could pass. There should be opportunities to push beyond what Manchin is offered as a starting point. But the bottom line should be a bill that can become law this year. The framework Manchin floated offers an opportunity to do a lot of good. Now jumping down to the article, it says Biden campaigned from the center. In other words, his political stance was more in the middle, more moderate. With Congress as divided as it is, he would have to govern from the center as well. What's more, rising inflation makes a major spending bill a tougher sell in 2022 than it might have been a year ago when we had the American Rescue Plan passed. But the nation's needs aren't taking a break, and neither should its president. We're saying people here still need some additional support to get through this pandemic. And now with increased inflation and gas price soaring, Biden may not have been able to push through the Build Back Better bill over the finish line. But now he must reassemble its most important pieces and build support in Congress, framing this pared-down bill as a tonic for the biggest problems facing families right now will be the key to getting done. Democrats should make a deal and give some relief to families squeezed by our heavy economy. So that is the latest, you guys. Looks like stimulus has been pushed to the forefront again, and we have been hearing a lot about it. And as more information rolls out, I'll be sure to keep you up to date here on the channel. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget to take a quick second, smash that like button. If you appreciate the update, helps my channel a ton. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. See you in the next one.